Hello everybody, welcome back. We now have all the qualifiers for the UK Open Blitz Championships. Uh, so there's a final. So the qualifiers all took place all around the country. And they generally start at 11 a.m. I took part in one of the qualifiers. I was lucky enough to win it. It was in Newcastle. And we're going to talk about the other qualifiers and what chance they have of winning the event. Now, last year I played in the final. I've actually played in the final, I think, quite a few times now, but I've never won it. I think one year I played David Howe, got a huge score, like 14 out of 15 or 13 and a half or something big anyway. He basically just outclassed the field, unsurprisingly. It's quite a strong field. But every year the field's getting stronger. There was another year I played Justin Tan, won it. I was one of the top seeds. I think I came third or something like that. I was quite happy with my performance, but Justin Tan was in a different level. I did beat Justin in that tournament I won against, but he was leading even after I beat him, possibly, or he was certainly joint leader at that point. So sometimes I've messed up tournaments where I've quite often beaten the person who wins tournaments. That can be frustrating, but that was less frustrating in a way because I think he was still ahead. But when you beat someone and they're behind you and then they overtake you later, that can be very frustrating. Ami Garcia, I think, was second that year. He's also won the UK Rapid Championships. And also I played one year, I think, years and years ago. I think I lost to Simon Williams, who actually won the tournament. It was organised by Los Cooper in somewhere near Stoke, right? Leek. I think he lives Staffordshire. So I think he was somewhere near there, and I lost to Simon, and I think he ended up winning. But I can't remember any other occasion. But I also played last year, and I played a few years ago where I lost to Freddie Gordon in the first round, and then never really recovered. I did quite a poor start. I think I started with something like 2.5 out of 6, and the leaders were on something like 5.5 out of 6. Like Gastonov and John Spielman. John Spielman won it. And then the year after that, I failed to qualify, and Gastonov won it. Eldar Gastonov is originally from Ukraine, but now been living in England. And then last year, he won it again. And I did quite a promising position against him, but I messed it up and I lost. And so he won the tournament. I was kind of frustrated in a way because I realised I had quite an easy finish to the tournament, relative to my rivals. And I messed it up, but I still finished second. So I finished because I finished second on tie break. I think I've maybe not on points possibly, but on tie break. I finished ahead of Shreyas and one or two others who were up there in terms of top English player. I ended up winning the English Blitz Championships, which is a nice kind of consolation prize, to be honest. So it's something very proud of. I won the British Rapid Play and English Championships the same year, which, considering I'm a relatively mediocre GM, is something I was very proud of. Probably won't be repeated in the future. If you look at the field for this year, it's very, very strong. And I think the reason is because they've changed the qualifiers, right? So they made it now you qualify. But there's only one qualifier. So last year, obviously, the previous few years they've had qualifiers as well. But the rules were that you could have two qualifiers from the same event. Now, a reason they changed it is possibly because they think that the field was too weak last year. Some of the tournaments weren't that strong in terms of who qualified. So what would typically happen is you'd have about 7 or 8 really strong players, but then the rest of the players you basically, not cannon fodder because still good players, you can lose to them, but you were feeling more optimistic about you would get a result, right? That's why I said I had quite an easy running last year. I was up there, joint leader, towards the end, but then of course I lost to Eldar, I ended up winning it. So 2 years in a row, well done to him. So if we look at who got through, let's have a look. I think this is the very first qualifier, and Shreyas just outclassed the field. Shreyas is improving all the time. He's an incredibly strong player. I lost to him last year in the final. It's only a matter of time before he wins a national championships, whether it's classical chess or blitz chess or rapid player, whatever. It's only a matter of time, and it could well happen in this final, which I believe is in November. So that was at the White House, the Avenue, Hampton. Possibly I've played there before myself. I've certainly played in Hampton. I played in a rapid play there a few years ago as a Mike Basman Memorial. Then Belfast, his player who's improving all the time, Adam Collins qualified. And he qualified very impressively, 14.5. He got a 2400. So he seems to be improving all the time. That's interesting. I played him recently in a tournament in Brighton. We both had winning positions at one point. I ended up in a draw. And he very narrowly missed out on an IM norm there. Birmingham, okay, they haven't put the qualifier there. Who qualified from Birmingham? I believe it was... who qualified from Birmingham? September the 27th. I've now forgotten. Anyway, somebody did. Quimborne Community Centre. Oh, hang on a minute. I know the answer to this question, but I've forgotten it. Oh no, it wasn't Gasanov, because I think he played the next day. Anyway, Peter Wells qualified from Bristol. Daniel Kazawick from Wales. Peter Wells I played in the finals before. Richie Vijay Kumar is a very strong young Scottish player who's improving all the time. He qualified from the first qualifier, finished ahead of Freddie, which is impressive, in Glasgow. First qualifier in Scotland, I should say. Bazakusta is one of the strongest young players in Europe, and he's now based in England, plays in England a lot. I played him recently in the Florencio, got a GM norm. He qualified from Liverpool. I think he finished ahead of tiebreak, ahead of Ged Mises Sarakauskis. Stanley Badasconi qualified from London, one of the second qualifiers. There was a lot of qualifiers in London, but Stanley had already failed to qualify in 2 qualifiers. Badasconi, I should say. But he was very impressive in the third one he had. He just really did rampage through the field. So he's a definite contender in the final. Then you had Lauren da Costa. That was impressive by Lauren, because that was a very strong field. That's one of the things I noticed. A lot of people qualified via the London one. I don't understand why they didn't come up north. They could have played in Manchester, or they could have played... Well, Eldar Gasanov ended up qualifying via Manchester, which was impressive. And, fair play to him. But there was like a Leeds qualifier, which wasn't that strong. And I thought there was loads of people in the London qualifier who would have probably been favourite to qualify via the Leeds qualifier. Why didn't they just have a day out in Leeds? That was part of the reason why. I mean, I qualified at Newcastle. It was quite a weak field, relatively speaking. So I was kind of favoured by the fact that it's just so much money to come up to Newcastle, and you're probably going to have to get a hotel for at least one night, maybe 2 nights, right? If you're coming up from London. So that's going to really drive up the costs. And even if you get to the final, you're then going to have to splash out on, I'm going to have to spend probably over 200 quid to pay for the hotel and the travel down to Leamington Spa. I think the final is somewhere near Warwick, right? I think it's something like Leamington Spa, right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I finish in the top 7 or 8, I'm doing really well, because it's so strong this year. And it's slightly off-putting how strong it is in a way. Can you be bothered to spend out all this money when it's such a strong tournament? And then you got Balaji, who was very impressive. He's been very impressive recently. Won a tournament in Wales that I took part in. You got Gawain. Obviously, he's the favourite, no question. I think he's the favourite, followed by Shreyas is probably second favourite. But then you're also looking at some of these juniors like Supratit Banerjee, who's improving all the time, and Stanley. It wouldn't surprise me if they won it, because they're improving all the time. It's Blitz. But I think Gawain is definitely the clear favourite, followed by an equally clear second favourite in Shreyas, I would say. On paper. Obviously, actually, Bazakusta you have to mention in this as well, because he's up there. I think there was another London qualifier who was a younger guy, right? Wasn't there somebody younger who... Kai Hanesh or something? Didn't he qualify from one of these? Maybe he qualified via the Birmingham one. Edinburgh, I believe, was Preddy. And Leeds one, I'm not sure who qualified via that one. And then you get to the London won the women's. You got Eunice, who won it last year. She was originally from Singapore. I believe she's friends with Hong Nguyen, who's from Vietnam. Shambhavi Harahayam, I'm not sure about the pronunciation. And you got a very well-known name, Bodhana, who very narrowly missed out in qualifying full stop for the overall thing. And I'm sure she will qualify in the future. But she's going to be a massive threat in the final because she's very narrowly missed out. Then you had Zoe actually went up to Edinburgh and qualified. Fair play to her. That was really impressive. Although she was probably held by the fact that Svetlana, short pronunciation surname, Svetlana, her good friend Svetlana, who I played before as well, very small player, actually withdrew after a few rounds. But I don't think she wanted to play the final anyway because there was a clash. Often people won't play the final. That happened last year. That I think it clashed with something like the European Championships. So a lot of people like Matthew Wadsworth didn't play the final because it was a direct clash. Then you got people like Camilla playing in the women's as well. Elmira, Eugenia Karas, who's quite a good player. You got Ellis, who plays a lot. Rukaya, I'm not sure about pronunciation. Madara, who played in Newcastle. She's a good player as well. But you would probably say the favourite is, ironically, it's probably Bodhana, to be honest with you. Even though Eunice is a defending champion, I would say Bodhana, given she's improving all the time. I'll put some money on her to win it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Bodhana Gawain winners. But I'm looking forward to taking part. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have to do a lot of training to actually get up there and do well. But it's Blitz. Don't take it too seriously. Anyway, that's my preview of the final. And it's only a matter of time as well before someone like Supratit Banerjee starts competing for the major. I said Shreyas, but also Supratit in a few years' time. He's going to be, if not now, competing for things like the British Championships. He was up there in the latter boards at the British Championships this year. Playing against people like Amit Gharti, who were competing for the title, and Supratit was competing for the title as well. So it's only a matter of time before he has a massive breakthrough. Anyway, that's my video, that's my preview. Please leave your comment down below. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks again for watching.